Here's first lure. Try out with the black and red because the color of the water is beautiful, purple. Try that out. Very important to have a nice tight drag. Everything's set just right. Too loose of a drag won't hook the fish. Too tight of a drag usually, once they get way out, ends up ripping the hook out of her mouth. So you try to get it set at, I like the 18 to 20 pound range. Whether it's the wire, which is old school, or the monofilament, which is also old school nowadays. We're going to set out another side there. You try to have a good count. The whole idea is to get all your lures set up so it looks like a school. You got 2 underneath, 2 on top. And if you got 6 rods, you fish another 2 there on top. So it's like a kind of a diamond-shaped pattern. So that's what we'll try out. Today we're going to start with 3, just test out a new boat, so we'll see what we can do. You guys probably aren't used to seeing old school star drags. Nowadays you're looking at the lever drags, but for wire line, these reels are the best because they hold up to the corrosion, and they're just low gear ratio, have to be able to crank them in a lot better too. Try and get them set up now where you have the school back there in just the right pattern, so you get a strike, you're able to get maybe a double or triple out of it. At the moment, like I said, it's a new boat for me, so I'm adjusting to the, you want the clarity of the water, got a lot of wake back there and whitewash, so you want to be able to adjust where need be to get the bites. Alright, we're starting out. We got here at about, I guess, 11 o'clock. Not sure what time it is right now, but the outgoing tide just started not too long ago, so we're going to try out in front of Bimini and work our way towards Cat. Because this time of year, a lot of times the bait will get pushed up onto the Cat area or Bimini right out front. So we'll fish the outgoing tide this afternoon, check this area out. And we have a small front coming tomorrow, so if we don't do well here, generally when you get the wind out of the northwest to north, Isaac's is better because it pushes the bait up onto the edge. And then it also will be a late time or late morning bite as well tomorrow. So hopefully it'll work out in our favor in both sections and we'll be a hero today. When you're waiting for a wahoo bite, obviously you can see how fast we're going. You can just sit here and be in a daze, and all of a sudden you're going to hear the reel screaming. Because we're going so fast, and when they latch on, it's going to set the hook right away and start screaming. The first thing you want to do is, depending on how good of a boat driver you have, you can either speed up the boat, because generally they'll help you get other strikes as well, or you can have whoever's fishing you run over and start cranking on the opposite rod that's not has a fish on it, and just work the rods, because sometimes you just keep going for a little longer, you'll get that second, third, even sometimes a 4th fish. I mean, the most I've ever had on it once myself was 6, and that's just working everything together. That's the whole idea, getting everything zipping through the edge there, and it produces fish, and doubles and triples are not uncommon. Once the fish is on, generally these fish like to run straight out, and depending on which way you turn, they're going to turn the opposite way to head offshore or inshore, depending on which way you're turning. When they're doing that, you want to stay on that rod really good, keeping it tight at all times, because if you don't, sometimes they'll turn around and start racing towards the boat, and you can still shake that hook out, even though at this speed, you would think the hook is set perfectly. And the only time is if it gets hooked in that bone in their roof is when they won't come off. But if they get hooked in the sides, you know as well as I do, they shake their heads enough, make that hole bigger, hook slides right on out. So you want to keep it tight at all times. If you can crank faster, crank faster. If you can't, just take your time. And that's why some of these low gear ratio reels are perfect, because you can only go 1 speed anyways, and it's generally perfect. I like to start out marking a line where I'm at. So when you start getting bites, you can let it out to the exact same spot at all times. Because once you figure out the spot that the rods need to be, it's very, very important that they go back in the same spot. Even if you're off by 4 or 5 feet, it makes a big difference when you're trying to generate a school back there and get your bites. Every once in a while, you want to make sure that the lures are clean. You know, whether there's weed around, plastic bags, anything that's floating, because sometimes they'll snag on the stuff and create drag. So what I generally do is, like on your rigger baits, you wind them up. Most of the time, you can see them pop and see if there's weed on them. But for the lead ones, you can actually feel the difference in weight by pulling on it. If you get really good at it, you fish a lot, you can feel a difference in weight. If it's heavier, obviously it's got weed on it. If it's about the same, it's okay. That saves on time of bringing it out, and if you're doing that, a lot of times, as you know as well I do, you catch fish when bait's in the water. going, keep going.